Yeah. So how do you know Tim?
So I worked with my first ever club weekend was in Kansas City at
Okay.
the Comedy Club at KC, and it was for Greg Warren
Oh, awesome.
and Tim.
Nice.
And so I met Tim there, and this was just about 3 years ago. And then we just stayed in touch. He was doing a kind of two-man show where he did stand-up, and then he and his friend did like music comedy. And
Yeah.
so
Bowers?
yes, yeah, exactly. So he was doing one in Kansas City at the Record Bar, and he asked me to basically open and just kind of do, I guess, two-man show, three-man show, whatever. Do some time up top, and we were already like friends there. Oh, he was opening for Nikki in Kansas City, so he invited me out to go see the show and hang out with them.
Awesome.
And so then when I knew I was coming to St. Louis for this, I just came in from Boston for work. And so I came in on Wednesday, and the club had a hotel room starting Thursday, so I just needed somewhere to stay. So I hit up Tim and asked if he knew anybody. He was like, "We have a spare room. Like, come hang with us." So
Tim's the best.
Tim is the best.
Tim is the best.
Tim's
Absolute
great.
best. Oh, and Greg.
Yeah. And then Greg he went to like an open mic and then came over and hung out for a little bit. So it was great to see him again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I did another couple weekends with Greg. Another one in Kansas City. He brought me to Omaha, which is where I'm from. But I started stand-up when I was 16 in Omaha, and then moved down to Kansas City for college. Went to KU, and so I was too young to do club work in Omaha. Mm-hmm. So I started my club work in KC, but then Greg brought me to the Omaha Funny Bone, and that's how I got into there.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
that's crazy that you started so young.
Mm-hmm.
I really kind of wished I had started because I always wanted to do stand-up.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I didn't start till I was 28.
Dang,
and
okay,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so I was like...
Well, I figure there's no open mics in Afghanistan or something. Like, you can't really...
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've been thinking about it. And, like, after a show or after a mic or, like you said, at Tim's house, comics kind of, like, circle up.
100%.
And then it's just kind of, you hang, and you riff jokes and you just make people laugh and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I've been doing that my entire life.
And I've heard that's very much like when you're in the military, like those. Yeah, that is very much like everybody's bullshit and cracking jokes. Like,
and there were definitely times where I'd have guys in my platoon be like, "Hey, tell the story about blah blah blah," and and then like later I realized like, oh, that's a bit. Like I was doing a bit, like it was hacky and stupid, and I'm sure if I listen back to it now, I'd be like, ooh, but like, but still, I was like, oh, okay, so I kind of have been doing this. Kind of my whole,
100%.
Yeah. So, but I'm super jealous that you started at 16. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
It was
and you're already featuring because it was just a few years ago. I don't know if you want to say how old you are, but
I'm 23.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's been great. Well, the like starting at 16 thing is so. The older I get, the wilder it gets. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the further I get from 16, the more I'm like, why did my parents let me start at 16? Like that's a crazy decision.
Yeah, I mean, is it any crazier than letting a kid join the football team? Or you know what I mean? Like,
because you don't play football in like dingy ass
a
bars.
Nightclub. Yeah. That's true. I guess that's true. Yeah,
like mind. I literally like there's this one bar I started at. It's called Barley Street Tavern. It's now something else down in Benson in Omaha, and like the smell of the bathroom, like the cigarette smoke. The weed smoke and the stale piss, like it just brings back like these fond memories of being it's like no kid should have that smell associated with anything, let alone positive times.
That's so funny because that may or may not describe the Westport Funny Bone.
Right, dude, exactly. And so that, it just, and like my dad escorted me to my first two and like was like, hey, write down all your jokes. Give them to me. I'm going to read through them before you go to make sure you don't say anything like insane. Okay. Because my parents literally thought like I would go up and I'd basically do like Chris Rock or something like that. They thought I was just going to go out and start dropping every and Chris Rock is one of my favorite comics, but they just thought like I would go up and say every word under the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like as offensive as possible.
Which, to be fair, for parents, I have a 17-year-old daughter, so I'm not saying that she would go up and say whatever, but I would definitely be like, hey, look, you might think something is cool now, but later, please, like,
Well, and my mom, like, she was so worried that I would basically say something stupid, it would get posted online by somebody else, and then it'd ruin my chance of going to college.
Right.
Like, she was so paranoid about this. We were walking through the same area called Benson. It's a lot of like bars and shops and stuff. And there's one sex store. And in the front of the sex store, they have the mannequins with all the lingerie on. And I was 15 or so. I took a picture of one of the mannequins, like a dude mannequin in a leopard print banana hammock. And I went to go send it to my buddy and be like, hey, my birthday's coming up. Like, if you're looking at just something stupid. And she made me delete the picture and basically yelled at me for 10 minutes about how if I send this picture in a private text to my friend, the college admissions people all around the country will get a hold of this and will never let me go to college.
So when I'm older than you, I'm 35, but when I was in high school, there was MSN Messenger, which was like, it was just DMing back and forth, right? And I had just watched the movie Office Space for the first time, and in that movie, there's a song called "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster" by the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great song, so I put as my status, "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster." And my mom went ballistic. She was like, "You're never going to get a job. You're never going to get into college." And I was like, this isn't Facebook where it'll pop up every year as a memory either. Like, it's MSN Messenger, which doesn't even exist anymore. But yeah, so I was terrified.
That's so funny.
But that's good your parents did that, because they probably saved you from, like, I'm like I said, I'm 35. My parents come to a show and I'm still like, okay, like a little, like I still get nervous, and I'm not a dirty comic.
No,
like
me
I work,
neither.
I work. Well, I figured if you opened for Greg, and Tim,
they wouldn't have booked me for that.
Yeah. But still, like, I can't imagine being like, because sometimes you make a note about something that you think is funny, right? And you're like, ooh, I could try this out as a bit. But it's like your inner thought, and it's kind of scary to like say it to a room full of strangers, let alone be like, okay, Dad, here's my inner thoughts, and let him just read through them without context. That would be.
Yeah, oh, totally. And, you know, they were all pretty clean. And actually, I have a funny story about that, what you were saying. So my parents, my dad, after the second open mic, I want to go to another one. And he was like, you know, I got stuff to do. I'm busy. You just go. Let me read through your stuff. And I said, you know, I'm just going to work on that same set as last week. Total bullshit. Wrote a whole different set that was full, like, the dirty stuff that I wanted to do. And again, it wasn't crazy, but like one of the bits, my opener when I was like in high school was basically the similarity between teenage guys and old guys is that our dicks don't work like we want them to. Because I was always like, you know, called an old soul, and like.
That's a good bit.
It's a great bit. It's a fun bit. And so it was like, I did like that for the first time. And because he wasn't there to monitor, to make sure that I said the shit that I gave him. So that's where they kind of said, you know what, we have no more control over this. But there were times where I would tell them, like, oh, I came up with this funny bit. I remember the bit was, and I love this bit. I don't tell it that often, but like I grew up in high school. I graduated 5th in my class. I gave the commencement speech at like graduation, went to an out-of-state college on scholarship and all this stuff. And so I had this fear kind of in high school and college that I was the perfect candidate for a teen to get hit by a drunk driver.
Okay. And
I told that to my parents, and it was dead quiet. And my mom just went, ooh, Silent Night. I was like, oh, brutal, brutal. But then I tell the bit, like, it becomes one of my favorite bits and does really well. And I've done it on shows that they've come to and they think it's funny. But, like, yeah, there were a lot of times where they just did not get it at all.
So I'm guessing that you kind of grew up clean, not swearing, not kind of.
Not necessarily, no.
Really?
I mean, like in my household?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I got 2 loud-talking, shit-talking Jewish parents. Like, if you go to family dinner at our house, especially if you get, like, my grandparents and my aunt and uncle and cousin, like, it is at holiday dinners. Mm-hmm. Fart jokes, poop jokes, sex jokes, making fun of people. You're stupid. That was, you know, like, I come from a very, like, funny, shit-talking family.
My family is similar. I don't know, like, they don't swear.
Interesting.
At all. Like, never, ever, 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 ever swear, ever. And, like, to this day, when my mom, she's almost 70, when she hears a swear word, she goes, oh. She'll, like, do like that.
Like somebody hit her.
Yeah, like it's like someone just, like, poked her or like, stabbed her or something. And so that was a main reason why I wanted to be clean, was because I was like, well, it's kind of how I raised. And then I went into the military and I got like a doctorate in swearing. You know what I mean? So it's like now I'm trying to like merge these two halves of myself, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I when I do a joke on stage, when it starts off, it's not always squeaky clean.
For sure.
And then I try to like, okay, crank it down. You know, how do I take the swearing out, make it as clean as possible, but still funny?
Yeah. Well, and making sure like the joke doesn't hinge on the swear word.
Right.
Like there's other words you can get creative, but then sometimes like the base joke doesn't have any swears in it, but then obviously as I'm talking and just telling it like naturally how I would talk, I do swear, so then that comes out. But, you know, if I'm working with Greg, for example, keep it a lot more locked down, or certain gigs, but like if I'm featuring at a club or if I'm doing a bar show, then like I'll kind of let it fly. But again, not egregiously
and
either.
there's people don't realize this, but there are levels to clean comedy.
100%.
Yeah, like you would say like,
dude, okay, so good story on that. So I did a show recently for the Chabad of Omaha.
Okay.
And they invited me specifically to open because like my grandma was on the board who planned the show. Like all my friends were there. All of my parents' friends were there. Like people I had known my whole life all throughout the Jewish community in Omaha, which when people hear Jewish community of Omaha, they think it's like 8 people, and they're not entirely wrong. But it is. It's a decent sized group, and like everybody's known me either my whole life or like my dad's whole life, like very deeply entrenched in my family. And so that one was not only like I have to be club clean plus, because like I don't want to offend the rabbi, I don't want to offend anybody, you know, no
church
even
gigs
innuendos. Yeah, exactly.
Church gigs are so hard.
100%.
Because I did a Catholic church one time, and even tonight I've got it's the Perryville, Missouri high school. It's like a Hall of Fame induction.
Quit bragging.
You're right. Yeah, exactly.
Perryville, God, I've heard they got some great comedy up there.
Yeah. Right. It's at like, I think it's at the VFW or something like that. But they invited me, and I'm like, okay. And I was going over my set, and I'm like, okay, this is clean. The good news is it's all adults,
right? So
it doesn't have to be like an all ages show, clean.
Right?
But like I was saying, there's levels to it, to where like, you know, well, I don't want to call anybody out, but like,
Greg's not even talking about his dick.
Right.
It's not even mentioned.
He is the high, I would say like, there's like, you know, Larry the Cable Guy down here where he's like, oh, he's got a joke about prostitutes, but it's not dirty because he doesn't swear or get gross, you know, but he's still talking about it. Then there's like, you know, Derek Stroop, who's hilarious, clean guy, but, you know, talks about, you know, getting DUIs or something like that.
Right.
Which is still, you know, not dirty. It's part of his life. It's a great bit, but also it's not like
family
squeaky.
friendly.
Yeah. And then there's like Nate Bargatze, you know, clean, great guy.
Super funny, obviously. Yeah.
And I would put Greg as even cleaner than Nate.
I mean, the guy does like 20 minutes on peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I will milk everything I can out of like shopping carts and like.
Earlier this week, I asked Greg if I had an opportunity presented to me, and I had to send off a tape, and I sent it to Greg, and I was like, hey, I respect your opinion. What do you can you watch this? It's 5 minutes and tell me whether or not I should send it or not.
Right.
And I respected it because I knew he would judge it at his level.
Yeah.
Which is, and he was very honest about it.
He's a very honest guy. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. And it's always great advice, even if it's not what you want to hear. It is what you needed to hear. Which it's so great to have someone like that in the scene who, like, in between him and I don't know how much Nikki Glazer is like around the scene necessarily, but like
she's basically around anytime she's visiting family.
Right.
So like
makes sense.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, stuff like that.
Like,
she'll come to the Westport Funny Bone, do open mic, and
but like having people like that going to the comedy club open mic and being around and being a resource is like so huge, and especially for like a scene of this size and location. Like, I'm from Omaha, Kansas City, like traveled all around the Midwest. Like, very rare to have people of that level who are doing theaters and doing sold out club weekends and all that stuff and been in this industry for 15, 20 years. To have them around is so insanely cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best. I absolutely love it. I think St. Louis is a super underrated comedy scene.
Completely. I mean, you guys have like, what, 3 or 4 clubs?
Yep. And we have, I mean, those are just like, so we have 2 Funny Bones. We have a Helium. We also have a, it's an all-black club called KJ's on Broadway, which is awesome. Well, and having lots of work there.
And I was going to say, having experience with that is something that not a lot of scenes have either. Like an urban scene or an urban club where those rooms are so fun and build a totally different side of like your comedy toolbox.
I take all new premises to KJ's.
Yeah.
Because if it's not funny, they let you know.
100%.
100%. Whereas in some rooms, you might get like a sympathy laugh or like a, clapter. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a cute joke. It's not funny.
Oh, that's cute. Okay, a pun. Yeah. But you take it to an all-black room and they'll just... Well, you get one of these, that's how you know you're losing them. If you're in a black club and you look and a black guy goes like this, you're like, oh,
this is not working.
Oh, dang it. This is not a good one. Okay.
Well, and when they love it, though, like it's a different type of appreciation because they'll tag the bit.
Yes.
You have to add like an extra pause.
Yeah.
That people don't get until you do those rooms. Like you have to, it's almost like after the punchline, you need to give them a second to add a tag to their friends or even like say it to you.
Yeah.
And it makes it a really fun, kind of more interactive show. But again, if you don't have a place like you said KJ's, if you don't have that in the scene, like you're not going to learn that. And so if you do the road and do a black club, it could, totally screw like
St. Louis is a really good kind of melting pot of a bunch of stuff because it is a very blue city in a red state.
Right.
So it's like you go out to St. Charles and you're going to get, kind of middle class, more conservative people, white people, and then we've got KJ's in North County or, on the north side of St. Louis. So it's not technically North County. But then you've got, the Grove, which is like the very like woke liberal arts kind of thing. So it's like you can test your bits in all of these places and be like, okay, I need to find something. I try to do it where a bit will work in every room.
That's what you need.
Because
that's the goal.
Yeah, that's my whole goal, and I call that being bulletproof.
Absolutely.
Meaning like you show up and they're like, "Oh, hey, we got a retirement community came in tonight. Cool, awesome, let's do it."
Yeah.
Hey, we've got it's a urban night. Okay, cool, got it, sure.
Well, and I'm sure you hear from young comics like, how do you find your audience? And it's like very difficult to do to just build an audience of any sort, but then your goal shouldn't be to find the places where your material works. These open mics, these clubs, these rooms, you should want to do all of them and make it work in every one. Like that's, I think, a misconception that like people who are new to stand-up kind of have because they see headliners and their crowds might be a little more homogenous. I think I'm using that word right. Yeah, we'll pretend. I was going to say, I'm asking the wrong guy, I feel like.
Yeah. People at home are going to laugh because I get words wrong all the time.
We're going to trust it.
Yeah. I believed it. You said it with such confidence. I was like, homogenous.
Yeah, yes. I got a college degree barely. Like, we'll count it. And so their crowds, maybe look the same or have the same sense of humor. And so they see that and go, oh, I need to find that. And it's like, no, for most of your career, you need to find what's funny for everybody. Because if you're traveling the country, you're doing all different types of shows, all different types of clubs, and you need to be able to make it work in every city.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more with that. That's so awesome.
All the comedy junkies have been solidly jerked off for the past 20 minutes. So
yeah, that's fine. I'm with them. Yeah. No, real quick before we get too far in, you want to give out your social media, how people can find you? And
Yep, easy. Spencer_Gordman on Instagram is the main one. SPENCER_GORDMAN. Gordman's like the failed retail store. So
nice,
easy peasy.
Gotcha. So the whole premise behind the podcast is anytime somebody says something is the best, it's just their opinion. There's no way to prove it right or wrong. So I thought I would sit down and ask like some of the best questions.
I have a lot of opinions on what's the best.
Good.
And oftentimes my favorite is not what I think is the best.
Okay.
So
I agree with
you
that.
Want an example?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm a big classic rock fan. I like a lot of old stuff in general. Like wearing a Seinfeld shirt. I'm a huge Monty Python fan. Like when I was getting into stand-up when I was like 10, it was a lot of like Johnny Carson, Def Jam, which Def Jam was not like old Carson, but like I have a Don Rickles computer sticker and poster, like Hedberg. Like I like all generations of a lot of stuff, especially for music. 65 to like 80 is really my sweet spot.
Really? Okay.
So Rush is my favorite band. The greatest band of all time is Led Zeppelin, which is my like second or third favorite band.
Okay. But you're just Tom Sawyer, huh?
I love Rush. Rush is, because I think a favorite is like it has a personal connection to you.
Okay.
Like Rush for me, some of the songs like 2112, which is basically Anthem by Ayn Rand, just about a guy finding a guitar instead of a light bulb. It's an amazing 20-minute epic song. Basically, like launched their careers into prog rock stardom, which like progressive rock is the nerdiest rock you can find. It's very like odd time signatures and 20-minute songs about freaking Greek gods or trees or all this random bullshit. I love it. But Rush is like the personality of the band. I love the lyrics, the music. Some of the songs are like some of the most important songs in my like adolescence, and especially like 2112 is all about this guy grows up in this very authoritarian society. Everything's locked down. You have to follow the rules in like this created by this elder class basically. And he finds a guitar and goes, "Look at how cool this is. We should bring this to the masses." And they shit on it and they go, "No, forget about your silly whim. It doesn't fit the plan." And it was like, that's exactly how I felt when I said I wanted to do stand-up when I was like 14. And so Rush for me is a very personal connection. But they also have like 5 albums that I can't listen to.
Okay.
Like straight up, like I've listened to them once or twice and I'm like, this is kind of trash.
This is trash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Zeppelin, every song on every album is incredible. They span so many genres. All 4 of them are arguably the 4 best in their respective positions. Basically ran the 70s, revolutionized rock, revolutionized music. Like, they're the greatest band of all time. But I have more of a personal connection with Rush. That's the difference to me.
I like that because I feel similar about other things, but it's like ice cream flavors.
Yeah.
So I'm musically illiterate.
Fair.
My wife is a musician. Like she moved to Nashville for a while and was doing the whole country music thing.
Cool.
And then my son is big into like he plays the drums and stuff. My daughter loves singing and stuff like that. So I'm always the odd man out.
Sorry.
But they're always into it. My son's favorite genre of music is like early 60s to I'd say beginning of the 80s.
Yeah.
So he's huge Beach Boys and Elvis and Beatles and stuff like that. And like he's slowly starting to, he watched Stranger Things. So he was really big into Master of Puppets for a while.
Oh, yeah. I love Metallica.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he will not be popular in high school. Just going to give that to you early.
Probably not.
Yeah, no, it did not give me friends.
That's all right. I feel like that's going to make him develop a personality.
Absolutely.
And that's cool. That's fine. I'm totally okay with that. I would much rather you not peak in high school. Like 100%. I see so many kids or so many people these days where you can just tell you're like, "Oh man, it kind of went downhill for you after 19." Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, and that's something I got all the time because I graduated college a year early, which was basically just all the work I did in high school. And I had so many adults be like, college was like the greatest time of my life. Like, you're going to miss college. College was I wish I could go back and do another year of college. And you're giving up a year. Like, and I'm like, if being 21, broke, hungover, stressed about money, stressed about school, probably working some shitty Papa John's job or something, if that's the best time in your life, what have you been doing the last 20 years? So I was like, one more year of college was just a barrier to doing stand-up a lot more often and making money and having the freedom that college doesn't afford. So I'm totally with you. Like, you gotta, keep trying to add.
I've been encouraging, I'm sure people get mad at me for saying this, but I've been encouraging my daughter. She's about to graduate high school. And I was like, take a year.
Yeah.
You know, like don't rush into college just because I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, I kind of know, but like it changes from like month to month. And
yeah.
I'm like, just chill. Like it's okay. You're not a loser. You're not, just go work 3 different jobs in that year and be like, I hated this. This one wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And now you kind of know where you want to go.
100%. Or like go to community college for the first 2.
Yeah.
Like
or something like exactly.
It's a ton cheaper. College is an investment. You want the investment to pay off.
Mm-hmm.
The investment is I am getting this education. I'm getting this degree. Now, whether you think that degree is necessary for the job, the importance of it, that's a whole other debate. But like, it's an investment on that then you get a job, ideally with that degree or in something similar, make money to pay off whatever debt you got into or the expenses that you accrued. Like that's what college is. And people just go in not understanding that. They blow a ton of money, get a degree they don't care about, don't use it, and then have debt for a while. And it's like you said with your daughter, have an idea of what you want to use this investment on.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem with if she wants to go to college. If she was like, I want to be a doctor. Go.
Yeah.
Go be a doctor. You're going to be great at it. I believe in you 100%. But if you're like, I don't know what I want to do, then don't force yourself into a path that you hate. Like I know a bunch of people who went to college and got degrees in communications or something,
general business,
stuff like that, and then they get out and they take a job that they didn't need a college degree for, and they're doing great and they love it, and they're like, oh, I kind of wish I hadn't have done that,
right?
You know?
Yeah,
I mean, not
and
that,
those are the people
not
that
that college
out
can't
for.
Be great. I'm sure she would have a fun time with friends and parties and stuff. I don't know. I didn't go to college, so
my college experience was like very, very unique because I was doing stand-up all the time, like already had a girlfriend. So yeah, I can't really speak to that. I mean, I had a blast, but it was like a blast doing stand-up, making best friends in that. So.
Right. The stand-up is for sure. I wouldn't say it's the best job I've ever had because there's definitely times that you're like, what am I doing? I did the open mic that Greg was at before he went to Tim's the other night.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was probably at that one that he was. And then after that, I left and did 2 other mics, and one was in this bar, and the bar is pretty wide.
Oh yeah.
And they have 3 different rooms. Like the middle room is for pool, and then there's bars on either end. They moved all the bar patrons to this end and put the open mic in this end and closed this end. Like there were chairs on tables. So like
they actively made the bar worse.
They actively made them. They were like, hey, we really don't like you guys being here. So you guys go over there. And there was, a comic would show up, go up, and leave. Yeah. So there's at all times there's like 2 audience members and 1 comic who's on deck.
Yeah.
And you're just throwing out premises and seeing like, okay, is there anything in this?
Totally. Yeah.
It's just like trying to chip away at that 10,000 hour mark,
Right.
And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But then I said something just off the cuff, and I was like, oh, that
it kind of worked.
They kind of giggled, and I was like, okay. And I wrote it down, and then I drove to the next mic 10 minutes later and did it a little bit differently, and it got a bigger laugh, and I was like, oh,
right.
Okay, this might be something now.
To go into the weekend with.
Yeah, so it was kind of one of those things where you're like, what am I doing? I hate this. And then you're like, maybe.
It ropes you back in every time.
I know.
It's the most abusive relationship I've ever been in.
Every time you have a new bit that you're excited to try, it's the most fun thing.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, I can't wait to.
Well, and it's like, it's a creative endeavor. It's something to like push for and strive for, and you can see improvement in. It's a way to make friends. It's a reason to travel. Like, it's all these great things, but it is also the biggest pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, you have to work for every ounce of fun that you get out of it. But, there's a lot of people, like, especially as I get out of college, I have friends who are just kind of sitting around doing nothing. And I'm sure you too. Like, you have friends who have kids and everything else just kind of goes to the wayside. And, that's fine. but it feels like you're missing out on something, right? And I feel like stand-up provides that. I love it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But, all right.
We could talk stand-up all day.
Yeah,
this is why I love talking with comics.
Two comedy nerds just talking about the beautiful suffering of stand-up comedy. But
we're real twisted fartists. Yeah.
So on the screen, I have a question, and then it'll have like a couple examples. You do not have to pick the examples that are up there. It's kind of there to just jog the memory. I tried it before where it was just questions, and people were like, I don't know, I can't think of.
Dude, I'll be here for 3 hours. This is like this is the shit that I live for.
Okay,
I love this.
Let's go. All right. Listen, for easy thing, best thing you've watched recently.
Okay. Great question. God, that's a tough one. Let me go through like my Netflix watch list.
See,
what do you got?
I think I'm 13 years older than you or something like that, and I'm so terrified that you're gonna say some like awesome documentary like Ken Burns' Revolutionary War or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Because the last thing I watched, the thing I watched last night was Invincible, and I was like, this is really good, and it's a cartoon about a superhero, and I'm like, oh okay.
Let me see. I watched Train Dreams recently, and I didn't love it, which I feel like is an unpopular opinion.
Which one's Train Dreams?
It's like this new movie. It, I think, was nominated for a couple Oscars or won a couple, and I watched for like 20 minutes, and I was like, this is not my type of movie.
It's not your jam.
No. I did watch Monty Python's Meaning of Life on the plane. I'd never seen Meaning of Life. I'd seen Life of Brian a million times.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you is best Monty Python movie.
Life of Brian.
Oh, for real?
It's not even a question for me.
Really? I'm a big fan of History of the World.
Oh, okay.
I think everybody goes Holy Grail.
Absolutely.
That's the most popular answer, but I think just the scene alone with Mel Brooks and B. Arthur. She's running the unemployment line or whatever. Yes. And she's like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm a bullshit artist. And she's like, did you bullshit this week? No. Did you try to bullshit this week?
Yeah.
No. It's so funny.
That is a great scene. I gotta say, Monty Python's Life of Brian is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I'm a big WWE fan. There was a great match on Raw with these two luchadors, Penta and Dragon Lee, and this really young kid, Javon Evans.
Okay.
His whole thing is like he's bouncy, like he's the highest flyer in the whole company. And it's against these three guys that are basically three white dudes pretending to be luchas, like Mexican dudes. It's nice. It's a very complex character, but they put on an amazing match. That was probably one of the things I watched that I got most emotionally invested in. So
I was, what's crazy is that I wasn't allowed to watch WWE growing up or professional, WWF, all of it, none of it. But then my family would sit down together and be like, all right, we're going to watch Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
And you would just, I remember being 8 years old watching Saving Private Ryan and being like,
that's way too young.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like that. Maybe 9. Yeah. I think it came out, whatever. But it was around then. And but then you'd turn on wrestling and they'd be like, oh, turn this off. This is it's too violent. Yeah. And UFC, couldn't watch that. Like boxing matches, never watched that.
It's because those you want to like replicate, which my brother and I watched wrestling against our parents' will. They wouldn't let us watch it, but if they're out for the night, it's on.
Oh yeah.
And I broke his arm wrestling in the basement. I was 10, he was like 7, and I threw him off for something, and I missed with these big beanbags, and I missed the beanbag, and his arm hit the ground, and it broke his elbow.
Ooh.
And we told our parents, because they told us to go clean the basement, and then they left. And we told them that he was trying to carry something that was too heavy and fell and broke it. And they believed it for about 10 years.
And then you finally were like...
my girlfriend, now fiance, we just got engaged like a week ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. She was over for dinner. We were talking about dumb injuries. And she was like, well, you broke your brother's arm wrestling. And my parents were like, you did what now? And my brother and I were like, we're going to do quick timeout. We take a 30-second, went outside, we're like, what do we?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, statutes of limitations. I'm in college.
Yeah.
It's lit 9 years past when it happened. I was like, we fess up. They're not going to ground us for it now. So we owned up, and they were just more shocked that they believed us. But to be fair, I did an expert gaslighting move. I told him when he broke his arm, if you tell mom and dad, they'll get mad at both of us for wrestling.
Yeah.
Genius.
Exactly.
The psychological warfare of having a sibling.
Yeah, I had an older cousin, and he would do wrestling moves with me at like Christmas and Easter.
He was older?
Yeah.
Then it was to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would do that to me, but then he would like gaslight. He'd be like, one time he like flipped me into a end table and my tooth went through my lip.
Oh.
And it was like I was like pouring blood.
Yeah.
And he was like, Don't tell Mimi. If you tell Mimi, then you're gonna get in trouble because you broke her coffee table. And I was like, oh no. So it's like,
oh yeah.
I don't remember what was the excuse I came up with, but it was probably like I tripped or something like that. And I remember my mom getting me like a paper towel with an ice cube in it, and she's like, "You tripped?" And I was like, "Yeah, I tripped."
Tripped real bad.
She's like, "You tripped into a coffee table?" And I was like, "Yeah, straight through it." Like that. Yeah. And he was in the back. He's in the background, just like, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? He used to do this thing where he would put me in like an office chair. It was like one of those old like metal office chairs, and then he would put this old like football helmet that just had the one bar.
Yeah.
And then he would just shove me into the walls. Like that, and like the shelves and stuff like that in the basement, which she had this concrete basement, and he would just be like, all right, ready? And then he would run really hard and like push, and I just bam, like right into the wall, and I'd be like, I don't really like this game anymore. And he's like, stop being weak. This is fun.
Yeah, I bet he didn't say weak.
Okay,
either.
all right. Yeah. That was a quick sidestep.
This is the 90s, early 2000s. Weak was not the word being thrown around.
Yeah. I try to explain that so many times. Because like when I was growing up, if you didn't like something, you're like, that's gay.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? And my kids get so mad at me. They're like, Dad, you got to stop. And they're right. But at the same time, that's gay. You know, like,
and then you go like, listen, grandparents sometimes use the N-word. It's just your word from the...
Exactly. I'm like, you know how sometimes Papa has some opinions about people that we don't necessarily agree with? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is just kind of how I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I'm not mean to gay people. But yeah.
It's so funny. And obviously, some words have a little more, like I have the bit that I'm closing on right now is about like old liberals.
Okay.
And how it's like right frame of mind, but the vocabulary is totally off. Mm-hmm. And it's like my grandma is like, I met this lovely Oriental woman today at the store. And it's like, I get the sentiments right there, but like you can't be using that one. Like there's a million other words.
I've noticed that with so many people, like, because my parents are getting up there, but like people from their generation, they have to tell you what the race of the person they talk to.
Yeah.
They're like, there is this delightful black man outside. And it's like, you could just say guy.
Yeah.
You just be like, there's a nice guy outside. They're like, but I need to tell you about it. And
it's like this context is not needed for a conversation about the weather. Like,
yeah. And then everyone's Arabic. If you're brown and they don't know, then everyone would be like, there's this really nice Arabic man outside.
They're if they like them, Mexican if they don't. That's what I'm saying. That's the way the world is right now.
That's so funny. My parents, they don't, I wouldn't say that, because they love Mexican food. Great. So I think that won them over to be like, whoa, I mean, yeah, we don't hate them.
Yeah, they can't be that bad.
Yeah, we love their cheese.
I recently had this al pastor.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Have you guys heard of queso dip?
Yeah.
It's delightful.
This queso fundito, it is fundito. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's God bless them.
Yeah, they do their best. And you know what? I've just kind of realized like they are who they are.
Yeah.
They're not, it's too late in the game to change.
As long as they're good people.
Yeah.
And you just go, hey, here's like 8 words that I would really not recommend.
Yeah.
And outside of that, like you're just 80 and you're just going to be 80. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And then just you're doing good.
Right.
Appreciate you. You're not as bad as you could be.
100%.
I mean, I've seen people that I'm like,
I've seen people my age that I'm like, how is my grandma more progressive? Like, she was born in the 40s.
Yeah.
She's older than like 90 countries and is more accepting.
When an old person says something offensive, I am more understanding because I'm like, all right, that's how they grew up.
You got to put it through like the 60s filter.
Yeah.
Right.
And, but yeah, exactly. And like my grandmother, she called black people Afro-Americans for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was like, probably don't do that.
Yeah.
But
would recommend.
It's better than the alternative of what she would have.
There's like 3 other words that she grew up hearing.
Yeah.
Probably saying.
She was from Georgia. So yeah. I was like, you know what? Afro-Americans it is.
You come a long way to get there. We'll let it go.
Yeah. But I mean, they're also like, I went to Ole Miss a couple times to watch a couple football games, and there were buildings that said like Afro-American studies and stuff like that, and it had been there for 80 years. Right. I'm sure they've changed it now, but like this was 20 years ago.
Right.
And I was like, that seems a little out of place.
I was about to say a little outdated. Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. Yeah, this is
this is the Deep South.
Ole Miss. Yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
Anyway, all right. So you said you're a Star Wars guy.
Love Star Wars.
Give me the best weapon and ship combo you can think of.
Wow.
I know this is so complex.
I mean, I do have the answer though.
Okay.
It's just whatever Boba Fett's got going on. So it's got to be Slave One.
Really?
And it's got to be his blaster.
I love that you called it Slave One. Because
sorry.
No.
Sorry, Indentured Servant One. I don't want to offend anybody.
That's what it was called my whole life.
That was the name.
And then just recently, I think they've changed it to something.
Boba Fett ship.
Yeah.
It's like I got the Slave One Lego set when I was a kid. Like it is what it is. But I think he was so badass. Like you saw him, and I mean he had 2 lines, kinda.
Yeah.
Like showed up for all of maybe 20 minutes of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And everybody was like obsessed with him. And he spawned this whole, I don't know if you're a big Star Wars fan but
I've seen all the movies. I've seen almost all of the shows.
Okay. So like all the stuff with like all the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Or like in the Clone Wars cartoons and the Rebels cartoons and the Siege of Mandalore. You have the Mandalorian TV show. You have Mandalorian Grogu that's going to come out. Like that all was started because everybody saw him and was like, that's sick.
Yeah.
And like he's a badass bounty hunter. Like, yeah, Slave One is one of the coolest ships ever. His gear throughout all the movies and shows and stuff was like always top titty. Like, yeah, easy.
I as a kid, I loved playing with it because I had the Slave One whatever ship.
Yeah.
And
like rotated cool, like the whole thing.
I didn't know it rotated until much later.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that it flies like this, I thought it was less cool.
Dude, it's the least aerodynamic looking thing
I know.
of all time.
I was like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like if it went like this, I'd be like, okay, that is pretty cool. But when it stood up and flew like this, I was like,
I'll totally give that to you. Yeah.
I lost. I definitely lost. I always wanted either the Naboo starfighter, the
great.
gold one with the silver or whatever. I thought that looked cool,
Iconic.
But also the I think it's a wing. Maybe it's not even up there. But
yes.
So and that's just because when I was a kid, in the episode 1 through 3. That's what Obi-Wan drives.
Right.
And I was like, that's sick.
The Jedi.
It had like a ring he could attach to it that go to hyperspace, and then he'd park that and like fly and like,
yeah, that's sick. All the Jedi starships were awesome. They had like this kind of old school Mustang looking quality where they were like they had like a little bit of bulk to them. And they were very they were speedy, they were sleek, but they were not like the Naboo starfighter to me is like, it's super thin, super sleek. Versus the Jedi ones were like, yeah, this is made to also long distance. Like I had like the Plo Koon one. It was the coolest. Yeah.
Here's controversial take. I've never thought the Millennium Falcon was cool.
Yeah, I've
always thought it looked like a flying like sewer cover.
But that was the point.
Yeah.
Because you remember Obi-Wan and Luke are like, I think Luke says like, we're going in this piece of junk.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it was always kind of a junkyard ship.
Okay, that makes more sense now. But my whole life, everybody's like, "It's so cool! It's the coolest ship! It's the coolest ship!"
No.
And I was like, I don't know. It looks like the VW bus of spaceships.
Yeah, it is. It's a flying bachelor pad.
Yeah. Now that you put it now you put it that way, I understand.
It's dirty. They're probably like empty
it's always
monsters
broken.
and use condoms in the like it is. They had to clean off the board game set. Like that.
Han and Chewie.
Dude, they had a board game set on the thing.
That's true. Okay. All right. I also didn't like that the cockpit was out on the side either.
Yeah, it should have been in front.
That would be so hard to park. And like driving through asteroids and stuff like that, like how can you tell if you're going to hit something if you're...
That's a great point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you were driving down the highway and you just leaned your head out the window and drove like this,
yeah,
you're going to hit something.
It's like trying to drive a motorcycle from like the sidecar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fantastic point.
So that always threw me off with it, and the other reasons. I will say that now that you say they do say it's supposed to be a piece of junk. I will be like, okay, now that you point that out, that's true.
Yeah.
But I think speaking of like the cartoons and stuff, the ship from Star Wars Rebels, coolest ship. Hands down.
Well, and the fact that that little ship that came out of it,
right?
And like, yeah, that was awesome. And it was it kind of had that Millennium. It was like if somebody wanted the functionality of the Millennium Falcon, but was like, we can do this infinitely better, way better cargo space, the ability to have the ship come off. Like that one was a really cool one. Great series too.
Oh yeah,
very slept on series.
I would say that it is the best. I would say it's the best show from beginning to end. Because it does the perfect thing of 3 seasons and done.
Right, because Clone Wars, it's like 4 seasons of like really good but kind of messing around, and then like the last 3 are really where like the meat of the emotional storytelling is. By the way, every female listener and 90% of the dudes have clocked off at this point. They're
No. I think you'd be surprised. There's a lot more. Dudes will stop talking about Star Wars or superheroes or whatever because they don't want girls to hear them. That's
right.
My big opinion, because I do feel like most men will be like, okay, it is pretty cool. It's a movie about spaceships and laser swords and gunfights and you know what I mean? Like
factions.
Exactly. Like it's cool. Its core concept is just all cool things. I will say a lot of the movies
get stupid.
Yeah. Get real stupid. Yeah. But that's
honestly, we probably lost most of them with the WWE talk too. But
that's no. I think there are factions of the world.
My girlfriend got me back into WWE.
Really?
She was watching it. She was doing an internship in Colorado, and I work remote, so I would go be in Colorado for a month, then I'd go back to Omaha and do the road for a couple months, and go back see her for 6 weeks, and so she was by herself, and that was right when WWE moved Monday Night Raw onto Netflix.
Okay.
She watched the first one, called me. I was driving home from like an open mic or something on Monday. She was like, "You ever watch WWE?" And I'm like, "Brother, how much time you got?"
Brother.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
Like I started, she will not let me do Macho Man Randy Savage impressions.
That's so funny. How long were you guys dating?
We've been dating since we were 17. So we're 5 years in.
Okay. And then Netflix has WWE. A month later, you guys get engaged.
No. This was years. Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, kind of. Like it was. I mean, at that point, like we have a lot of shared interests. We both love music. We constantly are introducing each other to, oh, here's this show, here's this movie, and I'd never in a million years thought WWE would re-enter, especially through her, because I was like, I've been looking for a reason to watch for like 2 or 3 years. I heard it was great. And she was just the impetus, and we're like, okay, we watch Raw every week. And it's on Netflix. We can watch for an hour. We can watch more on Wednesday, whatever it is. And we've gone to like live shows, and like we're fully bought in. Like we're creating our WrestleMania plans. WrestleMania is next weekend as we record. We're figuring out our plans right now. Like,
see, that's so awesome. If my wife, I've been married for almost 13 years, and if I came home and my wife had like all the couch cushions on the floor,
dude,
and like like, hey, I want you to teach me about Lord of the Rings or any nerdy thing that I'm into or whatever. Like, then I would just be like, oh my gosh, I got to get her a bigger ring. Like, oh man.
Dude, I'm like, okay, so you can't understand this without, like, Roman Reigns is amazing. Seth Rollins is amazing. You have Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley at AEW, but they came in as the Shield like a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm like telling her all this stuff from when my brother and I used to watch it and the characters that are still around. And then since becoming a fan, I've gone back and retroactively kind of caught up on the last decade or so. And she's like, can I be honest? You're the biggest dork I've ever met. I just like it. Like, she basically is like from here on a fan. But she's like very much into it. I got to show you her favorite wrestler. This guy's name is Penta. He's a luchador. Look him up at home. He's phenomenal. This is her favorite guy.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She went in the deep end.
She's a one of one.
Yeah.
She's a one of one.
That's awesome. Earlier, I was looking up the Star Wars ship from Rebels, and it's called the Ghost.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I was just
the Ghost.
That's what I was looking up a minute ago because I was like, oh dang, what was it called? I couldn't remember. But yeah, so cool. And I don't know. What would you take for a weapon? Are you going? I didn't put lightsabers up there because everybody knows what lightsabers look like.
Right.
Unless you have a specific one that you're like, no, I really want this.
I always, whenever I played video games, I always ended up making like a sniper build.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
Yeah, every time. And every time I would go like, no, I'm not gonna. Like, I play a lot of the like open world RPG games, like the Fallout games and Elder Scrolls and all that stuff. And every time I'll replay it and I'll be like, okay, I'm not making a stealth archer or stealth sniper. And every time, that's what I end up doing.
Yeah.
So, I loved the stormtroopers from episode 6, like the scout troopers.
Yeah, okay.
And I think they had some of that weaponry. So probably like one of the, honestly, no, you know what? Scratch that. The one the sand people had. In episode 1 where they're firing from the mountaintops down to the pod racing.
Ooh.
Those were fun. That's a great long range kind of bolt. It's not a bolt action rifle, obviously, but it kind of has that similar.
It kind of was. It kind of was. Like I'm ashamed to admit this because it's so nerdy, but like I love that in the Star Wars universe, there's lasers and there's actual like bullets,
dude.
Because. Yes. So and I know why there's both of them or whatever, because there was a war on Mandalore with the Jedi, and the Jedi could parry the lasers back, but they couldn't do it with the bullets because it would make fragments and then still get them. So which is why do I know that? I don't know.
Because we're dorks.
Yeah,
dude.
we're dorks.
We're freaking nerds, and you gotta own it.